Welcome to another Greater One video review. Today we're going to talk about the Apple iPhone and the Galaxy Note 2. I recently upgraded to the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and I'm just going to go into a few details as to why I made that upgrade. On the left here you have the iPhone 4S. Obviously the biggest reason that I made the upgrade was the screen size. As you can see, the Note 2 is about as wide as the screen is on the 4S. It is long. I'm just going to run down a list of things that I kind of compared and contrast between the two. Number one was the cost. I got the Note 2 for $69 on Amazon.com in January of 2013. About a month ago, and I bought a $55 64 gigabyte micro SD. If I wanted to upgrade to the iPhone 5, it would have cost $399 for the 64 gigabytes. So obviously it's a much better deal with the Galaxy Note 2, especially when you're talking about memory. Apple really price gouges you on memory. To go from 16 to 32 gigabytes, they charge you $100, and then another $100 to go from 32 to 64, which is absolutely ridiculous. It's a horrible price structure, but a really good money maker for them. 32 gigabyte micro SD runs around $20, so you can see the significance in the price difference there. Pocketability, that wasn't a big factor for me, but a lot of people like to put their phone in their pocket, and the form factor could be a big issue for a lot of people. Car GPS replaceability. I recently have been using the Galaxy Note 2 as a GPS system in my car, and it works phenomenally. Obviously you can't really see the maps on the iPhone, but with the bigger screen that gives you that capability. And if you're upgrading your car or you need a GPS system in your car, this is a good alternative as far as paying $700 to $2,000 for an in-car GPS system. But it's probably not as good as the maps that are on the Galaxy Note 2, Google Maps. Reading books and magazines. I like to read a lot of books and magazines on my phone, and I like the accessibility of always having the device on me. I really couldn't do that with the iPhone. I just find reading books on the Galaxy Note 2 a lot more enjoyable. Polished software and transitions, going from one screen to the other. The iPhone's much better as far as moving from one screen, one menu to another. That's a big deal for you. You might want to go with the iPhone, but Google's really come a long way. They're getting better. It's not bad software. It's just not as smooth as the iPhone. Customization, dealing with widgets and your home screen and everything. It's much better on the Galaxy Note 2. A lot of different settings can be changed, and a lot of different menus. You can go into a lot of different menus and customize your device a lot better with the Galaxy Note. Voice recognition, S-Voice versus Siri. I really don't use this feature that much, but if I was making a lot of additions to events and tasks to my calendar using voice, Siri's a little bit better, but neither one of them are excellent. So that wasn't a big factor. Watching videos and movies, obviously the Note 2 is much better for this just because of the screen's a lot better. The resolution is very good for movies and videos. If you're somebody that's just texting and making phone calls with your phone, then you're better off with the iPhone. One-handed navigation. If you're carrying a baby or doing a lot of things with your one arm while using your other arm with your phone, then the iPhone's much better just because of the form factor. OmniFocus versus Remember the Milk. OmniFocus is an excellent get things done application, and it's not available on the Google operating system. And that was one of the factors that almost made me stick with the iPhone. There are going to be certain applications that work only with the iPhone or only work with Google that you might like, and maybe a major factor, but I've been able to work around with that. With the calendar is really good, and the business calendar application with Google is really good. So between the both of those, I've almost matched the OmniFocus, but not quite as much. I'd like to see OmniFocus on the Google operating system, but I really don't see that happening. iTunes versus drag and drop. I prefer drag and drop. I just like having a lot more control over my media. iTunes, if you're really caught up and buy all your stuff from iTunes, you probably want to stick with the iPhone, but I like more control via drag and drop, so that's why I like the Note 2. Similar to desktop software, a lot of these computer companies are really trying to sell their devices by making everything look alike, as far as your phone, your tablet PC, and your desktop operating system. I actually thought that the Google system's a lot better, or a lot more like the Mac desktop operating system than the iPhone is, just because you can do things like on the home screen that are similar to the Launchpad and Mission Control. I'll show that in a different video, but I actually think the software is more like the Mac OS on the Google operating system. Using your finger or the availability of the S Pen. Obviously the S Pen's a lot better for writing on your screen if you're making quick notes or drawing or doing other things. You just have that accessibility with the pen built into the form factor, whereas you don't have that with the iPhone. Fashion and social proofing. Obviously the iPhone has been in the past more trendy, more fashionable. If you want to impress, you're someone that needs to impress your friends through social proofing and you know, saying you have an iPhone, then you might want to stick with an iPhone. I'm more objective, and I like a product that works better for me, and that's why with the bigger screen I like the Note 2. Ease of use. If you're a first-time cell phone user, I'd probably go with the iPhone, but as you get more used to using iPhone, or more used to using other phones and the other applications, I think the Note 2's better, just because of the customization and ability to change things within different menus. But a lot of people just like an easy phone to use, and it's a little bit simpler. I think the iPhone is better for that. Apps, it really depends on the person. Like I said, I really like the OmniFocus application, and that almost made me stick with the iPhone, but overall I think a lot of the applications are available on both operating systems, and you have a lot of choices with your apps, but a lot of people are going to select one device or the other just because of the applications. Widgets and pull down menu. Again, I go with the Note 2. Customizing your home screen and the pull down menu is far superior on the Note 2 than the Apple product. Innovation, well, Apple kind of started the whole thing in a lot of different ways, but I think over the last several years Google has come a long way, and in a lot of ways have trumped them just because of the hardware, as far as offering you a lot of different choices, especially with the screen size. Screen size for me on the Apple products just isn't big enough, and I'm really not going to be carrying around an iPad or an iPad mini when I walk around town, unless I have a bag and I really don't carry a purse or anything. So That's why the Note 2 is so much better for me, just because of that accessibility. Memory, micro SD, we talked about that earlier. The micro SD expansion slot for the Note 2 is just so much better than paying $200 more from going from a 16 gigabyte to 64 gigabyte memory platform. Eventually there's going to be 128 gigabytes. You'll be able to upgrade your Note 2 plus the 16 gigabytes you already have. Screen resolution is better. I like the Retina screen on the iPhone. The Note 2 is good, but I think a lot of the colors and whatnot seem more saturated. The look of the iPhone screen and the realistic representation of skin tones and different colors and scripting is much better on the iPhone, is just my opinion. Build quality, I'd say the iPhone's probably better. Probably has a better build quality, but the Samsung product's pretty good, so I'd probably say a draw. I actually like the form factor and the build quality better on the iPhone 4S and the new iPhone 5. I think it just feels better in my hand. Cost and accessories, I think there's a lot more available with the Note 2 as far as choosing different cords and whatnot. I mean, I paid like $4 for a micro USB cord, whereas I think the iPhone cords are like $19 or something like that. So the cost of the accessories is better on the Note 2, but there are certain accessories and hardware that people like with the iPhone, so that's kind of a subjective topic. Purpose of the device really all comes down to the purpose of the device. What are you going to be using it for? For me, I like the Note 2 just because of the accessibility. The bottom line is accessibility. I have all of my media accessible to me. I can read books, I can read magazines. Surfing the internet is a better experience overall with the Note 2 than doing those things on the iPhone. But if you're just someone that's texting a lot and talking on the phone a lot, then the iPhone is probably a better form factor for you. So I think the accessibility to the things that I need was the overall reason I went with the Note 2. I have the iPad also, but as far as carrying an iPad around town, it's just not really practical. But carrying around the Note 2 is much better. So overall, being able to access my media and read books and watch videos and surf the net is primarily the reason that I went with the Note 2. That's about it.